Hi, so today we are doing Christmas tartan. We are working on two tips and I put my background on for these designs with white pearly color, and I also going to use some see-through colors, green and red one. So they are Mosaic from Vitra collection. I'm also going to use some very dark Bordeaux color, dark green. I'm using bright red color. Vintage is kind of grassy green, very kind of dirty pastel. I'm going to use two whites, one of them thicker, one of them thinner, and I will mix them together. Same thing I'm going to do with my black, one thicker and one thinner. So you can do it in green or in red, it's your choice. Today we're going to do red tartan, and we're also going to create these red elements as well. So let's get started. I will add some top coat on my palette. Make sure when you create these squares, they're not too small. So we also will need sparkles for our element, and this is the brush we're going to use. It's not too thin. I love this red for Christmas designs. It's has just a little shimmer in it, so I'm going to use that as well. I will add a little bit of top coat to my red because my red, Christmas red, is gel paint, so it's pretty thick. And if you would like to make it brighter, you can add to the same mixture, add a little bit of neon color, so our red will be bright enough. Decide where you are placing your elements, so you can place it in the corner or on the bottom, like it depends from your idea, your plan. I mix a little bit of top coat with green to create the color which I will mark my elements with on my tip. And I'm using very barely noticeable color to place my elements with. So they're placed, and now we are filling in our red in these elements. So the red we mixed, we're just applying it. Doesn't need to be solid and very accurate placed. That's fine if your end's a little bit ripped, so don't worry about it. Just fill in the elements we created. And the third one. Now you can cure that like flash cure quick, or you can apply right away our sparkles, our gold elements. You can overlap it a little bit, just be careful if you didn't cure that. And try to make them different sizes. Maybe these will be a little bit smaller than our red one. Just a couple of them, and let's cure that. So our design number 2, we are doing I'm using this kind of brush for this design because it's flat and it's easier to place my lines with this brush. I'm not very careful now, it's just a very quick layer, and I'm doing this layer with our Vitra red see-through color. And now I'm leveling my line with medium striper, and I barely touching the surface, so I make sure that I don't press too much on my brush, so my color look leveled. So pull in the color, and one line is ready. Now we'll go across. Make sure that you will be able to fit a little bit of red on the very top. So place your thick middle line the way so you can still fit little piece of red on the top and on the bottom. So same thing, don't press too much with the brush. And now we'll add it on the top as well and on the bottom. I am reminding you I'm using see-through gel polish. In Mosaic is Vitra. If you don't have see-through gel polish, you can just mix your regular gel polish with top coat and it will give you the same effect. Let's add a little bit on the side so it looks finished. And now we are back to design number 1. I mixed my green. I'm using my darker green and see-through green for these elements. Just light movements, pulling the color from the line. You can create more lines or less, just kind of background for our branch. So cure, and let's get back to our second tip. Now we are mixing darker color with top coat just to make it thinner, and put our darker red on the squares which overlap each other. So filling in these squares, make sure that you don't go too thick, so after top coat it's not bumpy. Just very thin layer. Go back to tip number 1. So I'm adding my Bordeaux color to my red and mixing it together. I would like to create shadow on the base of our red elements. So just we'll add little darker spots on the red elements around the base. And kind of a little bit blend them to the tip, so it's not, the contrast is not that sharp. It's not necessarily though, you can just leave it as it is. And I also will add a little bit of dark green to my green I was using and create some darker shadows, darker background in the middle of our branches, green branches. You can see how it looks like right away with adding all these shadows to our design. You can stop at any time. You don't have to finish this design how it is, how I have that. You can just leave it as it is if you would like to. So go back to other tip. I'm using medium striper to put long green lines. Putting them on the sides of our red, just along our red lines and across. put it under the light after. So back to tip number 1, using very thin brush. I'm using Pro Liner long from Mosaic. I'm mixing my dark green with black and a little bit top coat, and add our darker parts, shadows on the base of our green branches. Just very inaccurate to just putting our main color on the center of the branch and pulling ends from the center. So same thing with Bordeaux. I mixed my Bordeaux, a little bit of top coat black, and I'm going from the base of our red and golden elements to the tip, just kind of putting light outline to it and creating the shape of our elements as well. After we are done with our dark outline, we are going to cure our tip and put top coat. We are also putting our top coat on our tip number 2, and this is matte top coat. After it's cured, it doesn't have sticky layer. So now we are ready to use spider gel, and we're just going to around these green lines from one side and to another side on both sides of the green. I do cure them in between, just a flash cure, because spider gel is shrinking after it sits too long uncured. So I just flash cure it step by step, almost like line after line or couple lines, and cure. So just adding more white. We are going all around those green lines, and when it's done, I will add my gold on the center of our red. Just kind of divide this red squares and across of the tip as well. And this main line, I will put a little bit on the top, a little bit of gold on the top. Don't try to be super accurate here as well, and a little bit on the bottom of the tip. That's it. Go back to our tip number 1, put in matte top as well. When it's cured, it doesn't have sticky layer. And now just adding our white outline. Little bit of white outline on green branches. So we will put crystal on this empty center and we'll fill it in. You can just fill it in with color, it's your choice. So as you can see, our glossy color look brighter, and when it's matte, it looks a little bit duller all the time. So I would like to make just my red elements glossy, red and gold. So I will put some tag-free top coat on the elements only, just to bring a little bit of brightness. And that's it, it's done. Hope you enjoy it.